of revenues?
Thank you for having me. I think the policies CBN right now, that is the exchange rate policy, is something we must welcome. This should have been done many months ago. November, CBN moved the exchange rate from 155 to 168 per dollar. And I quickly asked CBN, move it to 200 naira. If you move it to 200 naira, there will be less pressure on the naira. They did not do that. But by February, they moved it to 190 or 195. And now it is going to where it's supposed to be. You see, if we do not have oil revenue, what would we have done? Would we have been importing what we don't have money for? So I welcome this new development, and I want CBN to move it possibly to 250, so that there will be less pressure on the naira. And also the issue of the list of 40 companies 40 items that cannot use the naira to they cannot officially source the naira to import is a welcome development. Because if we do not do that, we get to the point one day there will be no dollar to import even the basic things we need. So it is a welcome development, and I do not have any reason to oppose it. I have been opposing some of the policies of CBN, but this time around, I'm in support of this policy. Whoever that is opposing it is not patriotic. Whoever is opposing it is looking at the short-term losses, but not looking at the long-term gain to the economy.
Okay, what long-term gain and short-term losses? Because I was saying earlier that I was hoping that the dollar won't get to 250, because if people that manufacturers, they still have to import raw materials and all of that, and the dollar is 230 or 250, then it's still going to fall back on the people.
Let me tell you, I think that if we look at the history of other countries like South Korea, China, Japan, who have actually, South Korea in 1962, under General Park, made it a criminal offense to source foreign exchange for consumption. Foreign exchange in South Korea and in China, the economies were taken up, was purely for importation of machinery and the industrial equipment. Now, what CBN has to do is to find a way to work with those companies that are into manufacturing, that need industrial input, and find a way to give them access to forex at a very low rate. It's possible. The only problem is that it will generate a round tripping and speculation. But at the end of the day, we have no option but to do this, because if we allow everybody to have access to forex, then the inflows are no longer as large as they used to be when oil prices were above $100 per barrel. What do we do? Does it mean that Nigeria cannot develop without importing certain things? We can place ban. See, this is what I'm saying. I agree with CBN, the list, but also I want to say, why not we place ban on all these unessential imports? Place ban on them, or raise 200% tariffs on them, so that the pressure on the naira will be less, so that naira will be spent purely on basic things that we need for industrialization. Because let me tell you, if we ban some of these goods, and there will be less pressure on the naira, that the value of naira will come down. That's the exchange rate now will gradually start coming to where it's supposed to be. That is speculation. That's pressure. Because when you import everything, that's pressure from the importers and the consumers. But when there's difficulty to bring in those goods in, now what will happen is that at the end of the day, those who are dumping these goods in Nigeria will be forced to relocate their factories in Nigeria and take advantage of our large consumer market. So that's what we have to do. Remember that in 1861, when Abraham Lincoln was being inaugurated as American president, the first thing he said in his inaugural speech was, if we import foreign-made goods, we get the goods, we lose the money, and we lose the jobs. But if Americans should buy made in America, Americans will get the money, get the goods, and get the jobs. This principle applies everywhere in the world. And we should not think that we can wish it away. No country has developed by consuming products made in other countries. Your only development should come when you're able to consume what you make yourself.
Okay,
Nigeria should not be importing climate rice.
Mr. Ngba, we'll come back to you. Let's have Dr. Ogubunka here. So, Ogubunka, how would this, Yomi asked a question. I mean, the manufacturers in Nigeria still need to import some of this machinery, and they have this high exchange rate. It's heading towards 230. How would that affect production? And wouldn't Nigerians be the ones that will bear the cost of these things as well?
You see, the CBN,
given also the fact that they still have to run generators, they still have to pay for a lot of other things just to manufacture one item. That means the cost will go.
Mr. Wegbara is saying he's even looking forward to the Naira being 250 to $1.
you see, these things are meant for our own good. Whether the Naira is 500 to $1 or 1,000 to $1 might be immaterial if we can generate the production internally. The problem we have is that we have become an importing country for everything we need, even the basic things that we can produce internally. And when you do that, what you do is you create jobs out there, and then you create unemployment for our own people. And that is not healthy for us. And that's why most of us are having several CVs looking for jobs, and you don't have the jobs available. Meanwhile, we have factories that are closing down,
because
that are producing under capacity.
Look at the other side of it.
But
they don't have power to run. They still have to run generator. But the man that has, let's say he has $1,000 to import his machinery, the machines he needs to run that factory, he still has to think of another $200 to $500 to run the generator. So what does he do? Instead of importing the machine, he thinks, okay, let's import the goods and be able to run our generator.
No, I think what is happening is that the CBN is not saying do not import machinery, do not import raw materials. They are talking about finished products. If you look at the list that was released, you'll find out that it's not talking about machinery. It's not talking about
the question I asked about, I'm talking about the
now,
exchange rate. Is the CBN thinking about the local manufacturers who would have to import the machinery with that little, the few foreign currencies they have?
You see, what will happen eventually with what is happening now is that by the time these other items that have been removed or delisted to source their foreign exchange from the foreign exchange market, by the time they withdraw from that market, the rates are likely to be available and amenable to importers for raw materials and importers for machinery. And that is the reason why we are saying, look, create opportunity for us to produce. How do you produce? Make the environment amenable to our local producers. You can give them a better rate, for instance, for those who want to import machinery. You can also create a platform for those who want to import raw materials. These things have been done before. You can have a segregated selling rate for those who want to import core machinery for production and that are verifiable. And we are sure that if these things are deployed in the economy, they will generate capacity for us to produce and to get employment for the youth. So my take is that whatever we are doing now is for the medium to long term. It's not for the short term. It's just like a pregnant woman. He has to suffer the pain of childbirth, but he gets happier and happier when the child is delivered safe and sound.
But in the short term, how do we cushion all of this effect that is going to come with some of these policies? How do we cushion this effect? We
cushion those effects by raising our productive capacity. What do I mean by that? There are so many companies that are hindered of reaching their capacity currently because they have external goods that are competing with what they are producing, and they are not able to compete in that market. By the time we get them produced up to their capacity, then we fill the gap that will be created as a result of this current policy.
What about the structural problems, the infrastructural problems that we still have to grapple with?
Yeah, those are the things that the government should then be looking at, because it's not a one policy fit all. The policies are supposed to be addressing all things at the same time in terms of saying, for instance, we need to elevate our